On this day in history, 1951, the first commercial computer, UNIVAC 1, was unveiled. If they would have only known what computers were going to do to the world. For example, I almost got in an accident today because I swerved when I saw a banana peel in the middle of the road. Thanks, Mario Kart. Welcome, Wattpad Nation. You are watching the Corner Booth. We are I am broadcasting back in Bear Lake, Michigan. That's Bear Lake, Michigan. And we're really, really happy to have you. We're waiting on our guest panelist. Her name is Amy. She goes by, her Wattpad handle is Rosamy. But she's having a little bit of technical difficulties. I believe she's broadcasting from Puerto Rico. So if we can get her on, amazing. So if she jumps on late, that's the whole reason behind that. But we do want to get everything set up for you right now with what we call the high five. We're very, very happy to see that all of these people. Oh, Rita's she's actually watching with everybody else. Ricky and Mel and who else is Catherine Genzel and hello to everybody. I'm sorry if I missed one of you guys. Guillaume. I'm sorry. Guillaume. You're gonna have to tell me how to say your name someday, because I'm terrible at pronunciations. But hello to all of you. If you want to chat with us on Twitter, you can do that by using our hashtag TCBWatt. And like I said, this is part 2 of our diversity duology, and we're gonna introduce these panelists that are going to attack this one because. We were talking about it before we started the broadcast. We think we're going to lose some followers tonight because there's some pretty heavy-hitting questions on this. So, anyways, I am going to start with Mr. Atomic Bonic at Fifth Project, and he's going to fill in the blank this week for the high five. Blank is my most valuable possession, and then as soon as he tells you what his most valuable possession is, he's going to tell you why.
You know, now this question ran around my head all weekend long, and I thought about my passport because, you know, with your passport you can use it to travel anywhere. This can take you anywhere. But then I checked the fine print in my passport and I realized it doesn't belong to me, so I can't use a passport. So my second option was music. Music would be my most valuable possession because over the last few years I collected probably close to 1,000 CDs, and this ranged from Neil Diamond to Snoop Dogg. So we're talking about the full spectrum here. You know? So talk about diversity.
Sweet Caroline, all the way to Gin and Juice. That's pretty amazing.
That's the full spectrum. So music would be my number one. Music would be my number one.
I love it, Thomas. I do. Right? That's great. I love it. Miss Michelle Hayes, or at Michelle007.
Okay. Considering what's transpired in the past 10 days of my life, my MacBook is my most valuable possession.
You'll have to explain that to everybody so people know why.
Oh, I have been in the shadows and absent because my 17-year-old son spilled water on my brand new MacBook. And
it's terrible because now he is dead.
I know. So
no,
bad.
oh my gosh, no. No. He did get a good tongue lashing. And I did weep on the floor crying looking at my MacBook. But lesson learned, always back up your work every single day. And the reason why it is my most valuable possession is because writing longhand would prove to be very taxing.
Come on. It's the best. All right, Miss British Charmentine.
Okay. Well, I had a great deal of trouble with this question. Here's my thought process. My very first reaction was, well, my faculties. I want to be in possession of my faculties. So, you know, in essence, my brain. And then I said to myself, well, I mean, is your brain a possession? And what good is a brain without a body? So, you know, it doesn't really, I couldn't make it work. And then I thought, okay, well, if I say a material thing, then I sound like a really shallow, bad person. And so I should really say my family.
Yeah, like a MacBook. Man, that person's really shallow.
Yeah, that's pretty shallow.
I thought about that too. I'm like, wait, family's not possession. But go ahead.
Yeah. So
thank you so much. Feel the love there.
I asked my husband. I actually asked my husband, like, what's your most important possession? He's like, my family. And I'm like, oh, okay, I feel like an idiot now. So But then I kind of got bothered by it, and I thought, well, you don't really own your family, so you can't really say that either. So, Michelle, I ended up the same place as you with my computer, my MacBook Air, and the reason is because I'm on it constantly, and I use it to create.
She's here! Oh, sorry. Sorry, Winnie. It's okay. It's okay. Hey!
Hello.
Sorry, keep going, Brittany. I just got excited because we got our guest panelist on.
Yeah.
All drinks on her, right?
Yes. All right, keep going, Brittany. Keep going.
Well, it was just, I'm almost done. It was just that I use the computer to create, to communicate, and to connect, and therefore it is my most important possession.
Well, that's good. No, I like that. I'm kind of curious about something, though. Isn't your husband a possession? Like, I thought that marriage was like the last legal form of slavery.
Personally, I do not think that
So
that's
the single man.
Come on. All right, and that takes us to our very special guest panelist. How are you? Do you say it Amy or Ami?
Okay. In Spanish, it would be Aime.
Aime.
Do I like
Aime, yes. Because it's like in French.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
we're really, really glad that you're here.
It's easier for you. You can just aim it. It's easier for you.
I think I could do Aime, because it's
Okay,
like
perfect.
I think I can do it. I'm really, really terrible with pronouncing names, as I found out with Rita and with Kelly, and yeah, I'm just terrible about it. But we're really, really happy that you're here. We've been asking this one question of blank is my most important, most valuable possession, and then you're going to tell us why.
Okay, it's my family. Definitely, it's my family. Nothing can be that. It's my family. I love them with all my heart, and I just live with them. It's my family.
And are you broadcasting from Puerto Rico?
Oh yes, I am.
That's awesome. How's the weather down there?
Oh, it's really hot and humid. It's summer. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's in nearly the 100s.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. It's I mean, right now it feels like an extension of winter up here in Michigan. I don't know about, hey Thomas, how's it in Canada?
Well, today was about probably 19 degrees. So that's comfortable.
Yeah.
That's comfortable.
All right. And to conclude this part of the high five, I'm going to actually let everybody know that we do have a Wattpad mug winner. His name is Eric Beatty, B-E-A-T-Y, or at the Eric Beatty on Twitter. He used our hashtag, and he won a Wattpad mug. So Eric, if you're watching, send me through a direct message either on Wattpad or Twitter your address, and I will get you a Wattpad mug. Right, like this. And for those of you who do want to win a Wattpad mug, all you have to do is use our hashtag TCBWatt, and tell us what your most valuable possession is. And we'd love to hear that during the week, and we'll choose a winner, and then we'll unveil that next week for episode 14. And now, the best part of the broadcast, in my opinion, which is cream or sugar. And it was where we're putting Wattpadders like you in the spotlight, whether you're a beginner who's finding some traction, or if you're just one of those people who has always taken our breaths away with whatever you've written. And I'm going to start with Michelle on this. Who do you have for shout-outs this week, Michelle?
Okay, I have a cream, and her moniker is Lynn S13. The title of her story is Court of Fairies, and it is tagged Vampire. From the first opening line, the author shows promise and a very engaging, well-written piece. She writes with true skill and masters it, taking the reader into the domain she has created. Beautiful. I've already added it to my library and will be finishing it amongst many others that I've fallen for. I'm so behind, but I will get to everyone. Check her out, though. She's good.
Awesome. Mr. Thomas Bonnick, who do you got for us this week?
Okay, I have 3 people I want to give a real quick shout out on Standing Bear, Coramel 23, and Luan at L-K-R-I-C-E. And book number 1 for Standing Bear is Various People, and the poem would be Various People 2. Book number 2 for Standing Bear also would be Scream Loud Their Names. And this book has 3 parts. Excellent, all of them are very, very excellent. So go ahead and check out those 3. Caramel books would be It's Always Sunny Somewhere, and the poem would be Rainy Day People. And book number 2, Little Love Letters, and the poem would be February 1945, part 1 and 2. I have one more to go. Book number 3, Loan, book would be Intimate Thoughts, and book number 2 would be I Just Want You to Know. And make sure your windows are open when you're reading these because they're very, very hot.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the 3 that I want to give a shout out for. Okay?
You just piqued everybody's interest with that one, Thomas. That was a good
Yeah,
sell.
no kidding.
Yes, yes.
All right, Ms. Aimee, what do you have for your shout out this week?
Okay, Michelle just got mine.
Oh boy.
It was going to be Lynette.
It's good, isn't it?
Puerto Rican. No, she's awesome. She's my best friend. I mean, in Wattpad, she just pushed me to write, and I wouldn't be writing if it was. She just gave me that pushback kick so I could begin writing. And I was going to mention A Court of Fairies, which is one of my favorite stories, both in English and Spanish. So I'm going to another shout out. And it's Just Lead, Justlyd, and she has 2 stories. The first one, and both of them are tagged or can fall in the tag of diversity. The first one is America, and the second one is Leslie, study of her own femininity. They are 2 awesome, really, really awesome stories, and you should read them.
Okay, you're skipping a little bit, Aimee.
Okay.
But don't worry, because I think that it'll resolve itself as we kind of move forward. I think you're just kind of finding the bandwidth sweet spot as far as.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Do you have your headphone jack in, or is that what we heard?
Me?
Yeah, Aimee. Did you unplug a headphone jack? Because it sounded like you did.
No. No.
Okay, all right, never mind. I'm hearing stuff. I just wanted to make sure that, the broadcast was going to go swimmingly. Ms. Brittany Charmantine, what do you have for us?
Okay. So in honor of diversity, and I don't know if everyone knows that it's LGBTQ month on Wattpad. You can see a number of people have changed their background pictures on their profiles to the rainbow, and I've done that. Anyone can do it. So I have picked a very talented young author, and her Wattpad handle is Dr. Who Gives a Damn. And she's got a number of stories up, but the one I've been reading is called Someday, and it chronicles a 30-year love story between 2 guys named Bobby and Will in 30 days. So she's picked 30 important days through the relationship and highlighting it through the stories of those days. So the story opens where one of the boys moves to the house behind, I think it's Will moves to behind Bobby's house, and they share a common fence in the backyard. And it's very difficult for them to communicate, so one boy's dad puts in a gate, and so now they can talk to one another. And one of the boys has a really wonderful family, home life, and the other one has a horrible one. And the sheer humanity and beauty of the story just blows my mind. It's just poetry in prose. So I highly recommend you check it out. It's a very quick read, short chapters, and just beautifully written.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Brittany. And I think that it's really important that we do highlight those things, such as the LGBTQ that's going on right now for Wattpad. I know that they've made a completely different logo, and it's gorgeous, and it has that rainbow, and it's really, really awesome that people that are those writers who have a story to share that some might classify as taboo, that they found support and they found a community at Wattpad. It's just really, really wonderful. So now we are going to the part of the broadcast which is called the entree, which is the meat of our discussion. And every week we give answers, or the panel gives answers to me and to you. And like I said, they might be a little heated this week simply because of what we're delving into. The whole description of this episode that's available right below this video. It's has diversity become a gimmick? Are people using it because they think, oh, it's LGBTQ month, and if I do something that has a certain, I guess, callback to whatever it is. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be LGBTQ. It could be something like, oh, well, if we had what's really, really popular right now, just an ethnicity that they are using for the sake of using it. Are people doing that? Is this the right thing to do? Why are people going down this avenue in the first place? And is it because they need a crutch? Is it because they think it's cool? And we're going to kind of address those with these questions, hopefully. So number one, and I'm going to start with our special guest panelist, Miss Aimee. Everyone has a different way of implementing culture into their writing. How do you go about doing it? Is it okay to use stereotypes? Why or why not?
Okay, I think not. No. I think that we should ask ourselves one question before we begin to write about I am able to write it without altering that specific character. What is the purpose in my writing by adding a character or writing about this type of person? I am capable to write it with respect to convey a message of tolerance while I include it in my story. I think we have to focus in this question before we begin to write a story. Of course, we need to do some research about that culture, about that specific ethnicity that we are going to be including in our story before we begin to writing.
Yes, absolutely. Is there? Have you ever run into problems? I guess because you are of someone who is of an ethnicity who has a really, really great culture behind her. Do you ever run into the problem of thinking, should I implement my culture into it, or should I do this from a more generic standpoint? You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes it's kind of like a lot of the Disney princesses, they don't have accents. Even Mulan, who's Asian, she doesn't have an accent. Yeah, I never really got that, but it's kind of, I mean, do you ever run into that problem with your writing of, should I do this from a generic standpoint, or should I do this from a unique?
Oh, well, I think that our character needs to blend perfectly within the story. It doesn't have to bright up or pop out in a very marked way. I think that characterization has to do a lot with it, and the way we plot the character in the story, we have to make it look natural.
Very true. Absolutely. Making it feel anything else. I mean, you always know when you're going into the realm of awkward. I think that it's really easy to see and easier to feel. I'm going to hop over now to Miss Michelle Hayes. Thank you so much, Aimee. Miss Michelle, how do you go about implementing culture into your writing? Do you use stereotypes? Is that okay? You're on mute. Sorry.
I think your mic is on.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Can you hear me now? Can you?
Yes, that beautiful, beautiful voice.
Sorry about that. Okay. For me, I select a culture that intrigues me. I attempt to compose about the culture with integrity and authenticity, so my fiction piece holds weight and credibility, and it's successful. My resources are Google, the library, and other internet sources. And yes, I do use stereotypes. To a degree, and for a good reason. There are villains in my book. There are characters that are pegged in a certain way. But I do not overdo it, if you will.
It's all about moderation, right?
Indeed, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michelle. Miss Brittany Charmentine.
Okay. Well, because of the genres that I write in, I make up a lot of cultures. And I do think a lot about it before I make up a culture so that it makes sense. But because I write satire, I don't know if people know that my book is satire, but it is. I use stereotypes for a reason, which is that what I'm trying to do by using it is I shine a light on a stereotype in a humorous way. And by doing that, I'm hoping that people might question their own prejudices, but I'm trying to do it in a really non-judgmental and non-threatening way. So what I do is I'll introduce a stereotype, and then I try to twist it in some way. So, for example, in my story, I have a fairy princess, and she has blonde hair and blue eyes, and she loves the color pink. But she is also a kick-ass adrenaline junkie. So what I'm trying to say here, without in so many words, is that just because someone looks like they might be a little princess, you know, maybe inside they're a tough cookie, and she is. So I think there are circumstances that you can use stereotypes, but you should know what you're doing when you use them. Make it intentional.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. It can turn on its head rather quickly if you're not careful, or if you're just, I guess, being using them too liberally, I guess you could say. Mr. Thomas Bonnick.
Well, you know, I think this is one we really can't get away from, because even on a subconscious level, I think we have the stereotype, right? I think it's probably marketers' favorite tool. If you're going to market something, you have to look for a demographic that you want to market this product, this whatever it may be to, right? Some may call it stereotype, some may call it a good marketing strategy. I find that if it's done in a respectful way, it's not a big problem. I see guys like I'll use Chris Rock, for example. He'll go on the stage and he'll talk about everyone in the audience, right? And he's stereotyping like hell, and he's walking with a big bag of money, and everyone is laughing. I don't think anyone's really offended, because it's within context. They know it's Chris Rock, and everyone goes home and no problem, right? But on the other hand, if the cop is going to stop me on the street for whatever reason, then it's a different thing. And even though Chris Rock may be making jokes about the same exact things, it's just sometimes who it's coming from. And I think if it's done with some class in a respectable way, and again within context, I think it's okay, because again, like I said, I'll give you an example. The guy calls on the phone. You don't know who is calling on the other end, right? And you may have to describe to someone who just called. And you may have to say, well, this accent came over my phone, so I'm guessing it was this person, or from this race, or from this whatever, right? No, is it wrong? Is it right? I don't think it's a big deal. You're just trying to figure out who it was. So I think if it's done in a respectful way, it's okay. If I just kind of quickly say also, I write poetry. Most of my stuff is poetry or short stories, and I don't really write about races or anything like that. I write what I see around me, what's in the news and stuff like that. So I pick up diversity based on my stories, not necessarily from a cultural standpoint. So that's how I add diversity in my pieces, just by writing about what's in the news and what's around me.
And that's great. I think it doesn't, like, we keep talking about race and ethnicity and just things that are, I guess, culturally, well, the cultural part of diversity, but it stems further than that if you're talking about stereotypes. Like, one of the biggest ones, I think, are, and it's just something that's fairly widespread, is if you're in a donut shop and you see a cop. I mean, that's a big stereotype, you know? And, I mean, necessarily, like, you might be writing it not really thinking, wow, that, you know, it seems like that would be the right place, you know? This is a police officer, of course, he's going to go to a donut shop. But, you know, I mean, you're kind of stereotyping it right off the bat. So just a different way of looking at it.
And to my point, it's going to be even, it's around you can't get rid of it. It's just the way we live, right?
Yeah, very much so. And I like that whole marketing standpoint that you brought in. Yes, people analyze the crap out of demographics in order to make their product sellable or what have you. But I think it's a different story when you're trying to, tell a story. Especially if you're using Wattpad to do that, because you're going to brush up against a lot of digital elbows.
But that's also
I
selling
think that
you're not selling it for money, but you're still trying to get across. You're still trying to capture a specific audience. So you're trying to sell that story still. So I think it's whatever sells, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can get a lot of following if, like for example, if Harry Styles makes an appearance in your book, or I mean, there's certain ways that you can almost turn things to I guess to work in your favor.
There's a good example I can give if I have one more second, if you don't mind. On Wattpad.
Of course I mind, Thomas. Every time you take up so much time. No, go for it.
So, on Wattpad, I think if you're over 500 reads or something like that, you can tell who's reading your story from what section of the world, right? Now, you could make a decision that you're going to write a story to that specific audience. If you find that more people are reading your books from India, for example, you could start gearing your stories towards people from India, right? So even that tool you can use, and are you stereotyping by doing that? I don't know.
No, I mean, I think it's a lot of trial and error too. You're gonna find out what works and what doesn't really fast, because the first time that you get that one comment from that one really angry person, it'll make you reevaluate things. Absolutely. All right, and now, fair panel, we are going to question number 2. Diversity doesn't stop at characterization. It includes genre and style. How would you advise a fellow Wattpadder on being unique but not going overboard? Miss I May.
Okay, just because when I hear the word diversity, for me it's no different than hearing the word humanity. For me it's the same. Diversity brings colors, aromas, beautiful faces, different cultures. And of course, research is very important when we want to blend over and make it together to make it perfect and sound perfect and read perfect. And if we want our stories to read unique, read and authentic, we need to do both these things. That we live in the same world and we are the same people. Diversity is a beautiful thing to write about. You don't have to put in bold print letters that our story is a diverse text story to make it stand out. We just need to think that we humans are unique, we are beautiful, and I don't think that I have nothing different from Thomas or from you. We just can make a beautiful story, being real.
I'm sorry, that last part was by being real?
Being real. Be ourselves. I would be stereotyping myself if I wouldn't be thinking that way, because I'm Hispanic and I write in English.
And she writes in English exceptionally well, people. If you haven't read some of her work, she just knocks it out of the park. It's really awesome stuff. And she's a very, very, very gracious Wattpadder, always talking with other people in the community, trying just to make it a better place than she found it. It is so great to have you here, I May. And Miss Michelle Hayes.
Okay. I would suggest choosing a specific genre that you're passionate about, what precisely appeals to you. Personally, I have no business writing a sci-fi, as it does not intrigue me at all, nor do I feel that it would result in anything worthy of reading. So that being said, my advice is not to sell yourself short. Trust in your writer's voice. Not everyone can write poetry or paranormal. Stick with what feels right to you.
Nice. I like that. What's right to you, because it's going to change from person to person.
Right.
Definitely. Absolutely. Miss Brittany Sharp. Oh, and before we get to you, Britt, everybody, the people that are commenting on our video right now, they've gone like on a wild tangent with the whole donut thing. That's really funny. If you have a chance to read it, it's really funny. And I think I have the last conversation from last week saved, and hopefully Lindsay has it too. But we're gonna post those conversations, because as soon as the video, as soon as this broadcast is over, the live feed disappears. and so which kind of stinks.
Right?
But so we're gonna copy and paste it so everybody else can read it. But it's really funny stuff. Miss Brittany Charmentine, what do you got for us?
Okay, well, Michelle pretty much said what I was going to say, but I'll say it again anyway because I wrote it out. So I'm not going to waste it. So basically, yes, I think you should write in your favorite genre and the genre that you like to read. I know that when I started writing quite a long time ago, I started writing a very depressing story because I thought if I didn't write literary fiction, that meant it didn't count, that I wasn't worthy. So I had to write something really depressing and literary. And I didn't like writing it, and I stopped for many years until at one point, about 6 years ago, I thought, why not write something I'd like to read? And so I just thought, well, that's kind of a good idea. So I love fantasy and science fiction, and so those are the genres that I write in. I also tend to go cross-genre because I just can't seem to help myself. So like one story I wrote, I call science fiction, romance, and I can't remember the last one, but anyway, and humor. And so, and my mermaid book is those things, plus it's fantasy. So I think it's great to kind of experiment with different genres and combine them together. And at first I thought, well, okay, yes, but they have to work together. Like you can't have, a couple of genres or put 3 or 4 genres together and they don't work. And then I thought, scratch that, you can make anything work. If you write it right, you can make it work. As far as style goes, I think that when you start out, that it's totally fine to emulate other writers that you admire. I did that with Douglas Adams. The first draft of my science fiction story is very Douglas Adams-ish. But then gradually, you can't even really help it. As you keep writing, you're going to develop your own style. And it's going to be something original because you're the only one who can write your style. So as far as can you go overboard, I think I've said this before, but the only way I think you can go overboard is if you're doing something so experimental and so obscure that you're not communicating to people, if they can't understand what you're saying, then that is, that doesn't work. Don't do that. But other than that, go for it.
Big no-no, but yes, at the same time, I do agree with what you're saying as far as, it's good to experiment, but, I mean, do it in a vein that, is comfortable, I guess. That's the best way to put it. That you can kind of feel your own, because even though you're doing something that might be bold, that doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be something that's so way out in left field that nobody's going to get it kind of deal.
Right.
So, yes, I totally agree with you. I'm right there with you, Brett. Mr. Thomas Bonnick, what do you got for us?
Oh, gee, well covered there. So I'll just say a few words. I think research the hell out of it. Make sure it's as real as possible, as true to life as possible, and develop your own style. And again, forget about some of the rules, I think, and just really try to be yourself. I came across this poem recently. It's written by Rose, new poet, and it ties in so very well with right at this point. And it's called, the title of the poem is Poem for the Future. Check it out. It ties in so very well right at this point in the song. So go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And Thomas, you were talking about doing a lot of research and researching more. Right. Have you ever done so much research that it changed the angle or the scope of what you were writing?
Usually I know how I want it to start and how I want it to end. Usually whenever I write my poems, I want you to walk away feeling something. I go for that. That's big for me. The in-between is usually, I want it to be factual, I want it to flow very well, so I want to engage you, I want you to stay with it, right? And I want to take it to the end, the very end that I spoke about a while ago. So usually I research to make sure what I'm writing is fairly accurate. And even though it's a poem, I try to make sure it's as accurate as possible and as engaging as possible. So I do research. I'm pausing before I say this, but I think I can say 99% of even the poems that I write, but they have to make sense. And I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to write coherent things, you know?
No, but I don't sit down, grab a pen, and say I'm just going to write some stuff to make it rhyme. That doesn't make any. Well, I don't want to be so blunt. I was going to say it doesn't make any sense to me, but I may be offending other people, right? So I'm going to say I just don't do it that way.
I gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, and now for the part of the broadcast where we add a little bit of flavor to the broadcast. This episode of Diversity, I hope everybody's enjoying it right now. And thank you so much for everybody who's just playing on this thread. It is so great to read. I mean, you guys are just awesome. I mean, they're sharing different things. Melody Shalern, I guess. She says, I read whatever I find that looks interesting, mainly from all authors older than I. I love reading things that are realistic, so chick lit is usually my go-to. I do read I guess you better say, I do read every part of the spectrum. Not yet paranormal. Well, Melody, when you do get over to paranormal, go over to a little author. It's at Michelle007. She writes paranormal really well. So anyways, right now we are going to pass the salt. It is honesty in 140 characters or less, making it tweetable. And Miss I May, if we can break you in with this.
Yes. Okay. I just wrote down, our world is a perfect balance that we like.
Can you repeat that one more time, I May?
Our world is a perfect color palette. Let's use that when we write.
I love that. Perfect color palette. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, I May. Mr. Thomas Bonnick, what do you got for a Pass the Salt this week?
Oh, it's me now. Okay, and what do I have here? Your only responsibility as a writer is to be true to the story that has chosen you to be its writer. And that's a quote from Gene Lennon.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Miss Brittany Sherman.
Oh. Okay, so I've stolen mine this week from one of my favorite authors. Her name is Mary Robinette Kowal, Kowal, and she's written a series of books called The Glamorous Histories. She's also a Hugo Award-winning short story writer, and she said this about diversity. It's not about adding diversity for the sake of diversity. It's about subtracting homogeneity for the sake of realism. Boom.
Wow, that was amazing. It was not only like thought-provoking, but it had like an SAT word in there. Wow, that's awesome. Good stuff. All right, Miss Michelle, you got to follow that one.
Yeah, I don't think I want to follow that out.
I stole it.
Wow, that was pretty powerful. Okay, mine is simply pay attention to the words you compose, not the ranking you have on Wattpad and the followers on Twitter. That's it.
Oh no, pay attention. Like that is the biggest thing. Pay attention. Look both ways, people. Seriously, because you can get blindsided fairly easy if you're not being I guess if you're participating on these social network platforms and you're not really paying attention to what you're saying or how you're executing it, yeah, it can come back and bite you. Now, thank you so much for those nice little musings, panel. We are at Check Please, which is kind of a summation of this broadcast, but I do want to take a little bit of time and throw out a couple questions that we have gotten on Twitter. We have one from this really, really strange person that I have no idea who it is. She goes by R.S. Kovacs, and her name is Rita. She wants to know, I'm going to throw this question over to Miss Brittany Charmentine. Do you write other diversity aspects into your books besides ethnicity and race? What, why, and how? And I know that you touched base on this a little bit, but if you can expand out a little bit.
Well, okay, yes, I do have a lot of diversity in my books because I have lots of different supernatural creatures that I put together, and I am using them as a metaphor, really, for all the different people on the earth, and that we all have to come together to solve our problems. And once again, I'm just trying to do it in a way, get across a message in a really fun, non-judgmental, palatable way that we're all different. We all have our own strengths. All have our own superpowers, but we augment one another and complement one another, and therefore we're stronger together, basically. And beyond that, I introduce at the end of my book a gay character, and he falls in love with Cupid, and who I posit loves everyone because he is the god of love, and so he doesn't discriminate between the sexes. He loves everyone the same. So it's a topic that's really important to me, and I was really worried because of the audience that I have. I didn't know how it would be taken. But in the end, I thought it's important to me, and therefore I need to say it. And so I did, and I have to say I've been blown away by the response of my readers. I would say 99.99999% of them, what's the word they use? They ship it. So they really like it. And it's very rare that I get any kind of a negative comment about it at all. So yay, Wattpad community. You guys are awesome.
Yes! Yay, Wattpad community. Oh, it was kind of funny because I remember hearing or seeing an interview. It was J.K. Rowling, and she was talking about how Dumbledore was gay, and a lot of people did not like that. But it's because you can go the entire series not really putting that together. And when you start looking into how she wrote the character, you can see, okay, yeah, so what? He might be gay. Exactly. It's not a driving component. It's just like something that's in the back of your head when you're writing it. I've written gay characters. I'm writing a gay character right now, but I never say that he's gay. It's just I like to think that if it does come out, like that detail, if it does come out, then it comes out. But it's not important. The other thing was I have a mentor that is in my story, and he's black. And I never say that he's black. I just, if people start seeing it that way, great. If not, then it's not going to hurt my feelings either. It's just the fact that these are the things that I think about, which makes it helps me write the character for what it is at face value versus, saying, oh, there's this 6'2" blonde with ridiculously long legs and so on and so forth. It's just because when you do that, then people start assigning a value to it, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. They're going to put whatever spin that they want on it, and sometimes it can work for you, but sometimes it can work against you. So yeah, I guess that's my best piece of advice for everyone watching, is the fact that if you are doing something with diversity, if you are doing whether it's a gay character or somebody of color or race or background or religion, don't lean on that. Don't make it so that the entire character is all about that and nothing else, because then you lose a lot of the nuances. I think that some of the greatest storytellers in the world are the ones that make it so when you start hearing those little factoids, you're like, oh, I never thought about that, and then it makes you see it in a little bit different light. So thank you so much, Pam, for
something? Can I add something?
No, absolutely not. Yes.
You may have touched on this last week. I had a hard time listening to the whole broadcast, so you can shut me up if you did. But I have a pet peeve about writing diversity, and it has to do with skin color. And my pet peeve is that I don't like when writers only point out the one person in the room who has a different skin color than a white person. And generally, the skin color is indicated in using some kind of a food metaphor. Toffee, caramel, chocolate, coffee, whatever. That really, really bothers me. That if you aren't going to say it for every single character, then you shouldn't say it for the character that you've thrown in. So, oh yay, I look diverse now. And I love what Nat just said about he knew a character was a certain ethnicity, but he never said it because it just was something that was in his mind when he was writing the character, and I totally agree with that. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, thank Thank you. I have my moments where I'll say something that's agreeable. I heard this really funny joke from one of my friends. Like I said, I grew up in a predominantly white community, which is much like the community that I'm in right now. But I had one friend. His name was Christian, and he was black and I was Asian, and we were like the only. We ruined every single photograph that we were in because it's like, oh, there they are. But it was. I guess, oh man, like 4 or 5 years ago, he told me this joke, and I don't know if he got it from somewhere or something like that. But it was, it's kind of one of those question jokes. So actually, Michelle, I'm gonna toss this to you. You don't have to. All you have to say is what. But this is the way that it was set up for me. So Michelle, what do you call a black man who flies a plane? A pilot, you racist!
What? Oh my gosh! Why did you throw that out to me?
Oh my God!
But it makes you think. It's just like, wow, was I really being racist with this? I mean, it's just kind of, you kind of develop your own stereotypes in your mind, and you don't really know where something is going, I guess you could say. I do want to take 1 second to honor this amazing thing that Archie, by Unanonymous on Twitter, said. Write about something you believe in. There's no substitute for passion, especially in diverse pieces. And that is amazing, and so I'm favoriting it and retweeting it right now because that is awesome. Thank you so much, Archie, for that. And then we have one more question from Rachel Mole. Thomas, I'm actually going to give this to you. Talking about character diversity, would you ever write a character with a disability?
In fact, you know what? I'm a designer, right? I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you checked out my profile, but I was there's a Pan Am game that's coming to Toronto in the next month, I think it is, and I was designing not a poster, something to be mailed out to clients, and their mascot has a bunch of different people as their logo. One of them being a guy in a wheelchair, and someone asked me to remove it from the piece that I was doing, and I insisted. I said, "There's no way." I said, "It's a part of their logo. These people are actually coming. They're going to be a part of it." So I refused. I will not remove it. And I did not remove it. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It does. I actually want to give it to another person, too, because I think that you write short stories.
I can expand a little bit. If, like I said,
okay, sure.
I write about what I see around me, right? So I write about a killing, a drowning, a plane crash, stuff like that, right? So if I see something in my immediate and I see the need for it, it doesn't matter what it is. I will write about it. It doesn't matter what it is.
I got you. Oh, I mean, I'm glad that it doesn't matter. I mean, that's a really, really good thing.
It doesn't matter.
So here we go. We do want to talk to you about a little challenge. It's called #JustWriteIt. It's brought to you by Wattpad.com, and it is a challenge to write 50, or not 50. They're doing the little brothers now. 10,000 words in 30 days. NaNoWriMo, I know that like they're doing camps for it right now or something like that. It's all available online. There's this really, really great organization. They're called Patchwork Press, and they do something called Write All Year, and it's kind of like in preparation for National Novel Writing Month in November. And I know that right now it's summer, but believe me, November is going to be here before you know it. So if you're a participant in NaNoWriMo, go check out those people, Kelly Sheridan and Erica Crouch. They're both on Wattpad, and they both head up that specific project. So check that out if you haven't already. And I know that Just Write It, they're doing, this month, they're concentrating on fan fiction. So if you'd like to talk about everything fanfic, go over to the Wattpad 4 tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitter using their hashtag Wattpad4. And you'll meet a lot of really, really awesome people while doing that. And I also want to let you know that everybody here, well, I guess I should ask, are you part of the Wattpad block party?
Not yet.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Kelly about it. I know that everybody on this panel, aside from IMA right now, we're on for this thing called the Wattpad Block Party, and it's something that Kelly Ann Blount is heading up, and it's really, really awesome as far as what they're doing with it. If you kind of want to know more information about it, you can visit Kelly's profile on Wattpad. She has a whole story about the Block Party, and you can see the past one that she did. It's a bunch of writers getting together and kind of spoiling their fans. I'm going to ask a couple people because I know Michelle and Brittany are both definitely on it. Can you tell me exactly, or at least share with everybody watching, some of the little things that you guys are doing for the block party? I'm going to start with you, Michelle.
I have to prep for that. I'm still behind the gun on that. I am Give It Oak. It's on Amazon, and I think I might do a spoiler for the book 2 of How Deep the Roots Go.
Oh, that's awesome. Miss Brittany, what are you? Can you give us a little hint on what you're doing for the block party?
Sure. So for my giveaway, since I don't have a book or anything to give away, I don't know if you guys know that I am a glass bead artist. I'm a lamp worker. So I use the kind of glass they use in Murano, Italy. I use a 2,000 degree flame, and I make my own beads. And I am going to make sterling silver, pearl, and glass bead bracelet with a mermaid theme. So it will have fish and a mermaid and jellyfish and things like that. And it's going to be super duper cool. I should probably put a picture up somewhere so people can see what it looks like. I will do that. I'll do that. And then for my written piece, I've had a lot of readers ask me. I have one chapter up right now from the love interest. His name is Pierce, from his point of view. And so my bonus thing is going to be another chapter from his point of view.
Oh, that's so awesome. So what Kelly is actually asking everybody who's participating in the block party to do is also to write something, either it's a biography or just a little bit of an insight into how you're writing and how you've interacted with Wattpadders all around the globe. And so it should be a lot of fun. Hey, that's my cousin Shelby. She's letting me use her house.
Hi.
I've known her my entire life. We actually have the same birthday, so it's really easy to not forget her. But yeah, so anyways, I do want to let everybody know that the Wattpad block party is going to be awesome. You're going to see some people that you are really, really familiar with. And then you're also going to meet a lot of really awesome new writers that you've probably never read before. I've been taking a look at the list because Kelly gives us daily updates. And it's pretty mind-blowing, everything that she's done, so it should be a lot of fun. We will have the winner for the Corner Booth contest very, very soon. I know that Samantha Pennington she's either received the entries or will receive them very soon, and she's going to decide the winner. So the grand prize winner for our contest, they're going to get a lot of free swag, and I mean, it's going to be pretty awesome. So super excited about that. But everything else, you're just going to have to kind of wait and see. I do want to let pretty much, I guess, everybody watching, first of all, thank you so much for watching. You guys have been so awesome. Miss Aimee, you were absolutely wonderful. Please, please, please come back and visit us again.
Thank you.
It's been really, really great to have somebody that, I mean, Thomas, I know, has been kind of preaching all about how wonderful Aimee is. I'm like, dude, I know who Aimee is. I've known her a long time. You don't have to even like sell me on this one. He's like, dude, we need to get her on the panel, blah blah blah. So you got a fan. You got a fan right there, Mr. Thomas Bonnick. He won't disappoint. I promise. But I do good. What were you gonna say, Aimee?
What? I cannot hear you.
I thought you were going to say something.
No. I'm listening to you.
Okay. So, anyways, we just completed, I cannot believe we just completed episode 13. It's, wow. We've done 13 of these. We will be getting into episode 14, and if you do want to see what that is about, Lindsay Lippincott, who is our page master for our Wattpad profile as well as our Facebook page, has put together some really, really awesome stuff that she posts, and she does such a great job doing it. So if you'd like to see a little bit of the insight on the episode guide, we have all the way up to 20 drafted right now. So super, super excited about that. We're getting some amazing guest panelists that are coming on as well. I know that one of the ones that I'm excited about, now that we've had Aimee on, we have a really, really good friend of Brittany Charmantine's coming on. Her name is Jessica B. Fry, and she is awesome, and I've loved every conversation that I've had with her. And I think it was we've been trying to work with it for a while because I know that she's going to Alaska or something like that. She's a big she's a huge advocate for youth programs and ministry, and which is awesome. But she's a busy lady, and I can't wait for Jessica. You know, we got a seat waiting for you, so we're definitely waiting for you to come on over. And during the week, if you have any other questions that you'd like for us to answer, please use our hashtag, or you can pop into any one of our profiles, send us a private message right on our boards, or just come by and say hi. We'd love to hear from you. We're gonna finish 4 minutes early. I hope everybody's okay with that. We crammed in a lot into We crammed a lot into our hour. I hope that you took a lot away from it. Panel, I hope you had a really, really fun time sharing your side of the story for this part tour. And everybody, thank you so much for supporting this project. I cannot tell you how amazing it is to see that we have over 220 subscribers to our channel, which means that if all of our subscribers got together, we could fill a movie theater. That is insane. So, yeah, thank you so much for everything you've done. We really appreciate it. We love you to death. And panel, if you would say good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Excellent.
Bye.